Hi everyone, it's Øyvind Martinsen here and welcome to this video. If you're a beginner in outdoor photography, you must be beware of the fact that you have to develop your images in a photo editing software. I have used Adobe Lightroom as my preferred editing software since 2010, and it was Jason Bradley who introduced me to it. In the days of film, you could use different films that have different qualities in color, contrast and tones. Today, you have all the old film types in one raw file from the camera. You can develop your images in Adobe Lightroom so they match any of the old film types. It takes some time to learn to master the tools, and in this video I will give you an introduction. If you want to learn more, I have created an online course you can find at panamaphotoexplorations.com. So, let's get started. Here I have an image from the coast of Norway, and you can see this is an undeveloped image. It lacks color, contrast and tones. So what I want is to go to this. This is the final version, and I'm going to show you how to get there. This is the original version. It's a raw file imported from the camera, and we have to develop it. So I go up here to the develop, and normally I start here at the top. So I'm going to fine-tune the color temperature. I think I'm going to go a little bit cooler, down to maybe around here. Yeah, we try there. Also, I want to lift the exposure a little bit, so I lift it up to 0.50. I want to increase the contrasts, so I can lift that up to 25. Then I want a little bit blacks. Go down to -1, and then we can increase the clarity, and the clarity is sharpening the medium tones in the image. So I drag the clarity up to around 24. Now we still haven't done anything with the colors, so I'm going to start with that now, and I'm going to use the Vibrance tool, which is a very good tool for improving the colors in a much smarter way than the saturation. It will boost up the colors which is not so visible. So let's see, we push it up to around 45. And then we're gonna add a little bit saturation, be up to 20. You see, it's much better now, and we can see in here we have the aqua tones in here, we have the orange here, and we have more blue tones up here. So we still have some work to do. I want to work more with the contrast. I can use the tone curve, and I can lift the highlights a little bit up, I think up to +5, and then the lights up to around 7, I think, yeah, around there. And I want to make the darks a little bit darker so we get a better contrast, and also the shadows here. Go down to -5, I think there. Now we have a little bit better contrast, and then I'm gonna go down to the sharpening. Here on the details we find the sharpening tool. I'm gonna drag it up to around 57, radius 1.1, and I'm going to use the masking tool, which is the masking of the areas that don't need sharpening, like the blank surfaces, like the sky here. Then I press the Option button on the keyboard and drag this slider, and you can see all the dark areas here now will not be sharpened. So I can drag it up to around 40. These areas who are dark doesn't need sharpening. It's in the water and mostly on the sky. We'll get better images and better prints. So that's so far so good, but I'm not finished. I'm also going to go down here to enable the profile corrections. Every image has an optical deviation, so we can just correct that here by clicking this button, Enable Profile Corrections, under Lens Corrections. And also we can also remove chromatic aberration. The chromatic aberration is color lines that can appear between, for example, the mountain here and the sky. It can be green, yellow, blue color lines just in between the sky and the mountain. So I click that one, then I go to Profile. You see each lens has a vignette, and when I enable the profile correction, then the vignette is removed, but I like that vignette, so I will take it in here. Then I get a more this keyhole effect in my image, and the viewer will be more into this, looking more into this area than at the edges of the frame. Okay, we are so far so good, and now we're gonna go and adjust the colors in this image. I'm gonna select the colors here. We have the aqua, we have the blue, and we have the orange. We're gonna lift them up a little bit. So let's go up to here. In this field is HSL. It means hue, saturation, and luminance. And now I'm gonna work with the saturation, and I'm gonna start with the aqua color. We have the aqua color here. I'm gonna lift that up a little bit, so it's coming up, you see here, without and with more. All these colors are in the image, and it is the same saturation I could have if I used the old Fujichrome Velvia slide film, for example. So we can lift it up there, and a little bit up on the blue. Now it's more interesting. A little bit up on the orange. Very good. And I want a little bit more drama in the image, so I want to darken the sky a little bit. Out in the field I used a two-stop Gale-Ravel neutral density filter, the Gale-Ravel graduated neutral density filter, and to balance the light between the clouds and the foreground. But I want to fine-tune it a little bit here, and I used the graduated neutral density filter built into the Adobe Lightroom software. I click on that, then I go up here and I click here and drag downwards. Everything that happens above the upper line here will have full effect of everything I do here. You see here, I can darken it, I can light it up. So I want to darken it a little bit, so maybe down to 0.50. Adjust the graduation here. So everything about here now have this minus 0.50 exposure adjustment, a little bit darker. And everything from here to here is the graduation. So below here I have no effect of the filter. And if I like, I can adjust other things like the contrast, the highlights, shadows, clarity, saturation, and so on. So I also want to darken a little bit more, so I'll take down the shadows a little bit. Now we have more drama. And also a little bit up on the contrast. We can go up here. Yes. It's much better. We close it. Very good. Now I want to fine-tune this area, the rock, and then I don't use the built-in graduated neutral density filter. I want to use the brush. The brush tool is up here. Click on the brush. I can adjust everything you see here, the color temperatures, exposure, contrast, and so on. So, but first I'm going to go in here. You see now I have this ring here. I can adjust the size of it by scrolling on the mouse, or if you use a drawing pen, you can also use that. But for now I'm using the mouse and scroll the size of the ring. So I'm going to go here and start paint. It's called brush, so we can paint. So I want to just paint over the areas I want to adjust. So paint over the rock. Rock in the foreground. Very good. Now I can adjust, you see here, this area. You can lift up the exposure a little bit. And I can also increase the saturation a little bit up. And also a little bit up on the highlights up there. Now we have a much better contrast. I'm going to fine tune the top of the rock here. Just a little bit smaller brush. See, now we have a better contrast in the image. We have the darker sky, a little bit lighter foreground. This is the same method as we used in the old days in the old darkroom, where we did the burning and dodging in the old darkroom. So I close it. No, I want to make a new one. I want to do something in the water too. So I do pick a new. Then I have a new brush and I start painting over here. I want to lift it up on these white lines here. And the aqua color here. So now we will have a good contrast in tones. We have a good contrast in colors. We have the warm tones here, and we have the colder tones here. A good contrast between the orange and the blue. We have the aqua in between, and I can fine tune a little bit up and a little bit up on the saturation, and then a little bit up on the contrast. Then we have a much better image. We close it. I'm gonna darken around. You can check the frame. Now, much better. So this was a short introduction to how you can develop your image. So if you want to learn more, go to panamaphotoexplorations.com and check out my online course there. And you can learn very fast, and much faster than we did in the old days, because you can always watch the videos again and again. So thank you for watching. I'm Øyvind Martinsen. I have been an outdoor photographer since 1981. I love to help other photographers achieving better results. I hope you liked watching this as much as I liked making it for you, and if you know anyone who'd find it helpful, please share it with them. Check our updated photo workshop and tour program at panamaphotoexplorations.com.